I have this condition.
The condition?
It's my memory.
Amnesia.
No. It's different from that.
Hey everybody, I'm Tatsudoshi.
I'm Gordon Berman.
And this time we'll be doing a special movie, something that I've seen before. Hey, you know what? It is actually a very interesting movie, and there is a lot more to it than you even realize.
Right.
The movie's name is Memento. It was a movie made in 2000 by Christopher Nolan. Who knows who Christopher Nolan is? Anybody? The Dark Knight, Inception, you know, those movies. Those are Christopher Nolan. And
Ooh.
Memento is actually ties for Nolan's highest rated films on Rotten Tomatoes. And the other movie that it ties with is The Dark Knight. So there you go. This movie, a lot of people didn't really see this movie when it came out in 2000, but I did. Another one of those movies that I saw and people were like, I'm gonna go see whatever instead. But, I thought it was a really good movie, and I've been trying to get Korn to watch it for quite a while, and we finally decided to sit down and actually watch it.
Yeah.
So, this being your first time seeing the movie, go for it, Korn. Don't die.
Yeah. Well, that's a delicious choke. Memento is I keep on thinking like Mentos every time I hear Memento, but it's not Mentos. It's basically like it's a puzzle solving game, and it starts off where you see you see like a photograph, and
You're bad at explaining things.
wait, hold on. You see a photograph, and then like there's this guy who has this condition. You'll know he'll have a condition. Something happened to him. Like these two guys like raped and like killed his woman, and so
His woman.
we'll call it as you will, his woman, and he was like, hey, what's going on? But then like someone smashed his head, and with that he suffers now from short-term memory loss. He can only remember things for about 3 minutes before everything resets, and then he completely doesn't know what's up. Now, what he does remember is he takes usually photographs or a lot of notes, and even tattoos on his own body just to remember what he is doing and what his main goal is, which is an act of revenge to find the killers that killed his wife and kill them. So, through that, you start that, and it goes in reverse. Sort of like a Quentin Tarantino film. And sort of in that pattern where you see sort of around the end, and then it goes, and it goes, oh, you know, that sort of looks like it's confusing, huh? Well, let's take a step back, and then it goes all the way back. And at first, you don't really know who's what and what characters are which. But as time goes by, you realize that these characters get more character, and it's kind of just sort of a crazy roller coaster ride, and you just have a big giant jigsaw puzzle, and you're trying to put one piece together one at a time, and as the movie goes by, it starts to turn into a big old giant beautiful picture. And you
know what? That was pretty good.
I thought it could have been like its own video game, because it has that sort of atmosphere to it. Because the guy always wakes up and he doesn't know where he is. He's like, "Who am I? Where am I?"
I think it could be a really good point and click adventure game.
Yeah.
In the classic point and click style of Monkey's Island and stuff like that.
Right.
But far more dark.
Are you gonna put in your pennies?
They actually the cast is pretty good. Leonard Shelby is Leonard being the main character is portrayed just very neurotic, very compulsive, trying to keep repetition and trying to have the repetition keep him on track of finding this John G, who was the uncaptured killer and rapist of his wife, because he actually when they showed him burst into the door and see his wife on the ground, being held down by a guy. He shot one guy, but then somebody else came and cracked him on the head, and he found out, it's just John G. He couldn't figure out who it was, John G, Jimmy, something like that. So, you see all these characters get introduced and trying to point them in the right direction or the wrong direction. The supporting cast of Natalie, Teddy, Bert, Sammy Jenkins, who is the... Believe me, by the end of the movie, you'll know who Sammy Jenkins is. Because, man, does he tell that story a lot. Did I tell you about Sammy Jenkins? But Dodd and another guy named Jimmy. But there's a lot of misdirection with how things work, and until the end of the movie, you really won't know fully what's going on, because even the characters don't really know what's going on, except for one, and again, it's not revealed fully until the very end of the movie. I thought it was one of those really interesting movies where no matter how hard you thought about things, you could make guesses, and your guess could probably be kind of right, but you can't really know for sure until you see the final scenes.
See, what I liked about this movie is its inventiveness of it, as actually, like the character, that sort of makes you think, take you along with the journey, like you're trying to solve as much as he is. Trying to figure out, who's good, who's bad. But as the time the movie goes by, you realize that who you thought was good is bad, who you thought was bad is good. You don't really know who's which, and a lot of people just see, you see the true colors of the characters as time goes by, and more reveals. And the more time you go into it, the more you get into it. It's like you get drawn into the TV or the film as it goes by, which really makes a good film. When you get your own your own audience drawn in as the movie goes by, and it escalates rather than it starts to get exciting, but then like by the third thing it goes all the way full throttle. So
I do really like the fact that they keep you interested in the characters, and as time goes on, and the movie, as Corn said, is shot backwards, where you're seeing you're seeing the last thing that happened and going to the first thing that happened, and along the way they're revealing more information on how they got to the end, but they really don't give you all the information at the last point, at the last quote-unquote last part of the movie, and they're going back to the first part of the movie. Once you get to where it's all started, you'll understand everything, but at the very end, quote-unquote, which is the beginning, they don't really give you all that much to work with. But as the film goes on, you really start feeling bad for Leonard and getting drawn into the film. And I really don't want to talk too much about, because there's a lot of things you can spoil in this movie. What I really want you guys to do is take this movie and go and see it. This was Nolan's last film before he did Batman Begins. He did this in 2000, and then Batman Begins came out 5 years later. So he took a big gap between Momento and Batman Begins. And you can really see where Nolan's got a lot of interesting ideas as a director in this movie. And ironically enough, his brother was the basis of this, had the basis of this film. His brother wrote a short story that kind of had this whole thing going on when he was in college taking a psychology course. And he was taking a psychology course, and he was doing a creative writing course, and for the creative writing course, he used something he learned in his psychology course, and thus created this kind of twisting and turning story. His brother was very interested in the thing, and he's like, hey, you mind if I, take this and adapt it into a movie? And he's like, no, go for it, brother, and then this came out.
Go for it, brother!
And it came out really good. It's one of it's one of my favorite psychological thriller kind of movies, because it's really, again, like I said, you don't know anything for sure until the very end of the film. But you can make guesses. And you're basically guessing just as much as Leonard, the main character, is. So you kind of have that sympathy for him where it's like, hey, what's going on here? I feel bad for him. You know, I hope this works out for him. I mean, I saw the end, but how did it all start? Is he gonna be okay? Is everything gonna be cool?
Right.
But it's one of those that you actually kind of feel for the character. And if you really like psychological thrillers and you haven't seen this movie, then you should go see this movie. If you're not that into, you know, sitting there and paying full attention to the movie and you're just looking for an hour and a half of good times, then this isn't your movie at all.
It's another one of those movies where you know you have to really think, and it draws you to that character. Where you actually have, I mean, you think you're thinking just like the character is. It's sort of like a, you feel like you do have the symptoms that he does too. It's like because you're thinking like, oh, is this Saul's part? And then it goes, boosh, and then it goes to like another scene and stuff, and it's a completely different scene, and it keeps on jumping back and jumping back. It's like track after track of basically memory shots, and really tinkles or whatever. This messes with your mind a little bit too.
Tinkles with your mind.
Tinkles.
Just pisses all over your brain.
Of this, and it really just shows how fickle a memory actually is too. Or rather, than and it shows you from that point of view too. That it's like memories, are not really, things do change with memories.
Yeah, the actual quote from the movie is, memories aren't reliable. Facts are reliable. Memories can change, the name of a person or the color of a car or something like that. So you can't trust your memories, but you can trust facts. So that's basically Leonard's basis for what he's doing. All the tattoos and everything was on this. Like, it's like, John G. killed your wife backwards on his chest. So whenever John G. raped and murdered your wife right on his chest right here. So anytime he looks into the mirror, he sees it's like, John G. raped and murdered your wife. I don't know if I want to see that every time I look in the mirror. But hey, if you don't remember anything, right there, having that there would be a good fact to know. And he had all these like specific, blunt facts written down. It was like fact 1, fact 2, fact 3, fact 4, and then the other facts on his legs and stuff like that. So it was really interesting. And it's one of those movies that it's 10 years old and it's still held up pretty well as far as psychological thrillers have gone in recent years. It's actually still one of my favorite psychological thrillers. In fact, it's probably at least number 2, if not number 1, in my psychological thrillers repertoire favorites and such.
Yeah, I agree with Tatsu.
Any last words about Memento?
No, not really. I mean, I kind of just said most of these. I said it's like this. It's great. It's a good movie. Go see it because it will be worth your while. It's a nice little roller coaster ride, and it's like if you like solving puzzles and you like figuring things out, then yeah, this movie will keep you on track on that until the very end. So go see it.
Momento, really good movie. Get it on DVD today.
Where am I?
Did I tell you about Sammy Jenkins?
Yeah, I like